Path of Exile 2 can be very hard if you're a beginner, but hello friend, I'm Spud, and today I will explain everything you need to know as beginner in Path of Exile 2 with loads of tips for you. And we start right from the title screen when you log in into the game. And just about to create your character. Pick a class, for example, Mercenary. He got a weapon, he wielded, and you may think that Mercenary is a cool guy who wields crossbow and destroy his enemies. And yeah, you definitely can do it. But here's the first thing in Path of Exile 2. Technically, there is no distinct difference in classes in Path of Exile 2. Some new players in previous season was really shocked when saw mercenary guides, then they was using monk weapons and lightning strikes. Yeah, that's what was happening. So technically your class is not that important. What is more important is your ascendancy that you will be able to pick later in the game. But right now there is no information on title screen what ascendancies you can pick and how they will affect your class. And ascendancy is a choice you will make that you can't then change. So that's really a big of a deal. And regarding this case, I actually recommend you doing a little bit of exploration, what your class should be able to do later in the game, how other people build this class, so you can expect what you can expect from your pick. But of course it doesn't mean you can't play normally, you definitely can just go and play with your preferred weapon, and that's what I'm doing here on this channel. I'm doing role-playing builds, I'm not playing witch with a crossbow or something like that most of the time. But even here there's another problem, another choice you need to make. Whenever you choose your character name, you get another choice. You need to pick the lick. Yeah, and there's so much choices. So what do you need to pick and how it will affect your gameplay? So there's two types of licks basically. There is a standard lick and there is new lick, Dawn of the Hunt. At this point of the game, it's in 0.2, Dawn of the Hunt, there is no difference, so you can actually start in standard and play normally, and it will have same mechanics, but later, whenever the new league starts, you won't have new mechanics in standard league. So you won't have some new stuff, and if you're playing casually, like 1 hour a week, you just can start standard and you won't even ever feel what is the difference, because you will get some new stuff every few months anyway. You will be just a little bit behind in updates, but that's fine. But of course it's recommended to start new league and experience new mechanics every time. It's fun to start new characters, to develop them and stuff like that. And that's what makes game fun for me. So what is HC, SSF and HC, SSF? Basically, HC stands for hardcore. And hardcore means whenever you die, your character basically dead. You can't go back into this league again, but your character won't be completely obliterated. You can then start playing him in basic league. So if you want some challenge early on, if you want to experience hardcore experience, then just go and play hardcore. It's definitely not worth it. I just play normal league and that's it. What the heck is SSF? SSF is solo self-found. This means you won't be able to trade with other players, and also you won't be able to go in party with other players, I guess at least. So why do you want to pick SSF? Basically for extra challenge. Now you need to examine all loot you got on the ground, you need to interact with all activities the game will give you. Basically, if you get something that drops from one activity, you definitely need to go and play it. But in normal league, like in Dawn of the Hunt, basic league, you can just trade with other players and you can get anything you like, even if you don't like some types of the content and you don't want to interact with them. And there's a ladder for top players in SSF, in hardcore of course, in hardcore solo self-found. But as normal player, you just want to pick normal league and play it however you like. For example, I'm not trading a lot, but if I need, I like the option for it. So basically I'm playing normal league like solo self-found, and whenever I need to trade with someone, I just trade if I want to. And that's what I recommend you if you're a beginner. This time I picked Huntress, it's a new class in Dawn of the Hunt, and that's basically how your pick will affect your playstyle. Yeah, mostly it will affect your starting position on passive skill tree, so Witch and Sorcerer will go on top, Monk Duelist on top right, bottom right will be Huntress and Ranger, Mercenary and so on, basically starting position on the skill tree, and you will have different passives. Some passives will give you stuff like attack damage, some will give you attributes, but more on that later. And if you're scared right now, don't be scared. By the end of this video, you will understand how this tree works, and it's a lot easier than you might think. Also, your starting class will affect what weapon you will get from the beginning of the game after talking with this dude. And that's basically your first drop. Stuff that can drop on the ground is weapons, currency, or other types of equipment. For example, Scroll of Wisdom can be used to identify items. You can customize your abilities however you like. You can play even on controller and PC, but what I really recommend you to do is to go into Interface tab and check like what you like. I like to have clock on the screen, so I'm not playing till the midnight. There's different options for your interface, scaling your HUD, but I guess you can do it without my help. But what I recommend you to have always showing life and mana levels. It will give you numbers instead of just bars over here, so you at least know how much life you have and how much damage you taken, so you can estimate later like do you need more defense or not. And previous season I played without mini life bar above me, but this time Path of Exile became a little bit harder, so I recommend turning it on so you can control your health right where your character is. You can show life bars on enemies, but I don't like it. I like to play without them. Game looks cleaner. But here's the secret options that I really recommend you to turn off. So normally they turned on instantly because it will help new players like you, for example. Gem cutting restrictions. It will prevent you doing some gems or sockets more than just in a minute. And also it can prevent you equipping items that can disable slots, and while it can help you not break your character, actually it will prevent you understand how game works in most cases. And also it will probably even frustrate you. I got lots of comments in my videos that tells me like, how do you cut this gem? And I would say most likely people just got this stuff turned on, and if it's turned on, then basically you can't cut some gems. Overall gameplay is pretty cool, and I recommend you understanding how game works right from the beginning. Basically enemies got attack time, you can come close, you can evade them by going in and out. All characters will have rolls, so you can evade attacks with rolls, but roll, as you can see, will have nice burst, but then nice stop. So if you're just running, it will be a lot faster than you're rolling. If you want to do stuff faster, try to run away from attacks, not roll. Like Elden Ring, basically the same mechanics. You don't want to roll most of the time, you want to jump or run. Here is the same deal, basically. More running means you will be more safe most of the time. Since we got our first drops, let's talk about weapons, armors and all that stuff. Stuff that you can find on the ground. So first of all, there is basic items like hardwood spear. It's basic item, it will be in white color. And it's called base, because it's base for any other hardwood spear. Any other hardwood spear can drop in blue or, for example, yellow category. Blue is magic, yellow is rare. And they will drop unidentified. So you need to identify them with Scrolls of Wisdom, or you can identify them in other ways. Later in the game you will unlock them. So what is the difference? The difference you will see instantly. There's more physical damage or more other stats, and the difference will be over here. Blue items have maximum of 2 bonuses, and it will be 1 prefix, 1 suffix. It's game terminology, you will see it over here pretty clearly when you inspect items. And they have different tiers. As of right now, tier 1 is the lowest, and then it goes higher and higher. What is important that tiers can be different, and I mean, for example, if you go with dexterity, it can have maximum of tier like 6, and physical damage can have tier 12. It's just random examples. I don't remember how much tiers in dexterity actually, but it doesn't matter. They probably will revert this change back to Path of Exile 1, so tier 1 will be highest later, but as of right now, tier 1 is the lowest. And right now, if this number is more than 1, then it's better, and the more, the better, basically. Yellow items, rare ones, basically is upgraded items, and they can have up to 6 different bonuses. It can be 3 prefixes, 3 suffixes. And this goes basically for every item with just few exceptions. Most items will go into this rule. There's few rings that won't. Prefixes like lightning damage to attacks can't be rolled in suffixes. So basically, if your item got 3 prefixes and they're bad, then your item won't be able to have 3 good suffixes. That's what really important in the game to understand how it works. We're not diving deeper right now, we will talk about this in currency part of this video, but also of course there is unique items that will be in orange color, and they are really unique, so you can't modify them with other currency types. Most of the time strict rules over here, and they will give you some random and pretty cool unique bonuses. Sometimes they are good, sometimes they are like really trash and you don't want to use them. But also you may notice there is 7 bonuses actually on this quiver, and that's because items can have implicit. Implicit will be determined by item type, so for example 2-point quiver will always have increased accuracy rating, that's it. And when we examine items, as you can see, we can see how much. Technically that's everything you need to understand about items to understand when they're good, when tiers are higher, and where they are not very good, when rolls low or tiers is low. Here's a little trick for you if you want to check how good is your weapon or like stuff that should give you damage, like a ring that gives you extra damage to attacks. You just go and open your skill menu and unequip and equip your item at the same time, and you will see how it will affect your DPS. Calculations not always perfect, but basically you can see it pretty clearly that this item is better or gives you more DPS. Most of the time it will be correct. Now we're finally ready to get going and destroying monsters. Your first skill you will get for each class, for each selected class based on your weapon. And yeah, after reaching the first camp, you will talk with this dude and he will give you uncut skill gem. It's actually a quest item and you're forced to use it. And I guess it's nice time to understand how skills work. So basically, skills. They will be acquired by using skill gems. You need to engrave it, and you will see this window with a bunch of different choices. And skills will be tied to weapons. Yeah, so that's what really matters in Path of Exile 2. Your weapon matters, and that's how your class will play. And that's why you actually can go and play, for example, quarter stuff like monk style class, but you can play it with warrior. Warrior starts over here and you will have increased melee damage all over the place, so warrior is really viable to play as monk, or to be more correct, with a quarter staff, for example. So while your choice really matters, if you picked Huntress and you don't like Spear, you don't need to create new character most of the time. As Hunters you start in the same place where Archer starts, and technically they share almost the same passive skill tree, and you will get bonuses from quiver pretty easily over here. So just get good bow, cut some skills for bow and play with bow. That's what is most important. Of course you can't use lightning arrows with a spear, you can't use them with a crossbow. Again, it's a skill and it's tied to your weapon, but not all skills tied to weapons. Some skills are universal, like elemental skills. It's mage skills and you can use it as any other character. If you like to use flame wall, you can use it as Huntress pretty easily. We don't need to cut this gem, it's not really good for us, but let me just... that you can pretty easily just equip it and have fun with it. For example, that's normal spirit throw and it will go and shoot enemy, but if we put a firewall in front of us, spear will go through the fire and will be fired up with extra fire damage. So yeah, that's why you can actually customize your class and build some cool playstyles. If you got some imagination, you're having fun, there's a bunch of ways how you can have some fun in the game. I mean, Fire Spears is not particularly great playstyle in the end game, but right now we can have some fun definitely. And in the first area you'll find abandoned camp with abandoned stash, and here you will always find uncut skill gem. So they are pretty rare and you actually need to be a little bit more careful when you craft them. If you're making decisions, you probably won't have ability to pick other gems in the near future. They won't drop if you're not lucky too much. And you just need to live with your choices, or you can go on my channel and check leveling guides, build guides, almost for any character, and they are also here in the description and in the pinned comment of this video. And there is one more category that is not tied to weapon, it's occult. Basically it's like elemental, but elemental goes with lightning, ice and fire, and occult goes with some like physical damage skills, magic skills, as well as chaos dark magic. Now let's quickly talk about skills, what they actually have. So skills will have tags. That is most important stuff. Most players actually start by looking over the down part of the skill that gives description, like how much damage it do, durations and other stuff. But most important part, of course, is description. It will written in yellow. It basically describes what their skill do. It creates a wall of fire. It ignites everything in area, and any projectile going through the wall by you and your allies will deal fire damage that will inflict ignite. And here you can actually go and read what it means. Basically, allies means you allies include other players and minions. And minions are summoned allies. And allies is other players and minions is summoned allies, and so on and so on and so on and so on. That's fun loop actually. Anyway, basically over here is everything described pretty nicely, and you can check, and that's how you build your builds. Basically, when you're going with Flame Wall, you see that any projectile will move through it and will have some benefits. It can be attack or spell, and it really matters because some spells will give you projectiles, they will be benefiting from this, but attacks is not spells, some stuff not benefiting from. So there's a bunch of mechanics that you can explore, learn and build around. Or you can follow build guides, of course. That's what I recommend to do for the first character at least, to learn how game works in a correct way and then starting building your own if you wish to. As I told you, most important part actually is tags. Tags will show you how to scale your skills. That's what's important to you. Basically, Flame Wall is area of effect, self-explanatory, it's fire, I guess you know what is fire, and its duration. This means if you will find some bonuses to fire damage, it will affect Flame Wall. If you will find some bonuses to duration, you can modify it by different sources, I will show you in a minute. And area of effect, same. So for example, by going on passive tree, you can type in the search bar area, that's it, you don't need put area of effect, and you will see instantly, okay, here we got increased area of effect, over here we get increased area of effect, but for attacks. So that's what I told you. For example, Flame Wall is not attack. This means you want to increase area of effect for Flame Wall by choosing this node. Also, skills will have this part, additional effects from quality, and quality can be achieved later in the game with gem cutting prism. You just use it on your skill gem and it will have raised quality. Maximum quality is 20 and it raised by 5% each time you use. So whenever you see bonuses like that, like from 0 to 40%, just divide it by 4 and you will understand how much quality you will have by using one gem cutting prism on this skill. Also, skills of course will have mana cost, will have cast time, but they will have level. Yeah, level 1 right now is our skill. And you can increase the skills by finding gems of higher level. If you will find gem level 2, you can just upgrade your existing skills, or you can cut the new skill of level 2. What is most important, that skills comes with sockets. You see them right here right now. Every skill right now got 2 sockets, and that's how new skills come out of the gate. From the Act 3 and later you will find Lesser Jeweler Orb and you can use it on your skill to get 3 gem sockets. Nice part that after defeating boss in Mud Burrow over here, this big worm, you can go back to clear fell encampment and get your first uncut support gem. That's what we will talk about right now. So support gems, we can engrave them too, and that's what we use on sockets on our gems. And normally you will see a bunch of options, they should work, they should give your skills like nice and reasonable power most of the time. And some of them pretty like straightforward, like for example Martial Tempo, it will just give you some more attack speed. Some of them a little bit more complex, like Ice Bite for example, attacks will gain 35% of damage as cold damage for 5 seconds on freezing enemy with supported skill. So it's like a little bit of more work from you. You need to apply it to skill, you need to make sure the skill can deal cold damage and therefore freeze enemy, and whenever you freeze enemy with the skill you will get this extra damage for some seconds. Pretty intuitive. Whenever you deal cold damage you can chill enemy and then build up freeze and he will be frozen. Whenever you deal fire damage he can be ignited, whenever you deal lightning damage he can be shocked. That's it. If you can inflict cold damage, you can freeze your target most of the time. But also there is some insanely hard stuff that is hard to understand if you don't know mechanics. For example, hits against enemies in chilled ground created by supported skills build up freeze, as though dealing 20% more damage, 30% less effect of chill inflicted by supported skill. Basically, you can apply it to skill, and with hits, basically any damage that isn't damage over time is hit damage. And the skill should create chilled ground, and then you won't do 20% more damage, but you will freeze with other skills like you dealing more damage, so freeze build-up will be higher. If you're looking for particular skill, for example, you go into intelligence gems. There's intelligence, dexterity and strength gems, by the way. And you can like go and use search bar. If you're looking for something that gives you, for example, fire damage, you just type fire and see is there anything related to fire. You won't find a lot in intelligence. Fire will be basically strength most of the time. Lightning will be dexterity, intelligence will be cold damage. And here's the deal, as you can see we got a level 1, level 2, level 3 support gems, and game just tells you that to have higher support gem you need higher support gem level. You will just get them later in the game, they will start to drop. So now, here's a problem you may face as a new player. For example, you will see that Martial Tempo gives you more attack speed, and it's on whirling slash. But what if you like to use spear throws and you want to do them faster? You can't use attack speed? Well, you can. And you can manually go into dexterity gems and to go and find martial tempo over here. You can cut it over here and then apply it to spear throw, for example. But if you don't know mechanics, you can't be sure that it will be applied to spear throw. And to be sure that your skill, that your support gem will be applicable to your skill of choice, you need to press show all button. It will be basically over here, and on like if you're playing with mouse it will be right over here. There's a tick bar, you just press it and you will see a lot more options. Now you can have a lot more choices and customize your skill to your preference. So I like spear throw with martial tempo, of course, to attack faster, and as you can see it instantly occupies this spot in socket. We see damage increase. And that's basically how you customize your skills and make them sometimes just more powerful, sometimes pretty unique and suitable for your build. That's technically everything you need to know about skills to go play the game and enjoy it. Just make sure you wish to invest some time in your skills and do it early in the game when you're learning your character. Just read what each tag means, what means knockback, how it will work, and then you will understand how skills can be tied together. For example, we got whirling slash, and we got pretty nice explanation that if we stand on some surfaces, it will gain elemental type of the surface, so it can be fire, whirling slash, and skills can be combined pretty nicely. Like Twister, for example. It's projectile, this means when it goes through this firewall, it will have extra fire damage, so it can be combined pretty nicely, and we see this fire effect also. But at the same time, it can be combined with this whirlwind, so we can do all stuff together and do multiple twisters, and we can even modify them later. That's a pretty nice, cool and unique way to customize your character skills builds, and it's really fun. Now let's get back to town for a second. In every town you will find 3 types of traders. A random trader, magic trader, and like basic gear trader. Let's talk with basic gear trader randomly in the first area of the game. So we can trade with him, and if you sell something by accident, don't worry, you can instantly buy back it for the same amount you sold it, because you will buy items for more gold, of course 30 gold to buy, 3 gold to sell, but I can buy back it for 3 gold if I wish to. And as you may notice, there's a lot of loot you will find in the game, and a lot of loot will drop that you can't use or you don't want to use on your character, like you don't need QRs on Amazon, for example. The gear you may use will be in blue, the gear you can't use will be in red, and maybe it because you can't use it right now. For example, gear will have level requirements like this spear, but also high level equipment will have stat requirements. Strength and dexterity for this crossbow, intelligence for this coat, and if your character don't have a lot of intelligence, then you won't be able to use this type of gear. And this will lead you to understanding the basic concepts of the game. Yeah, because there's so much characters, because there's so much items, it's hard to get what you actually want from the ground in most cases. That's why it's really advisable to check traders every now and then and see what items are good, what items are not, and sometimes you get your best items from the traders. Yeah, it actually happens. But it will take you so much time to check all this stuff, and you still don't know the game, you don't know what is good, what is not. That's why I got my shopping lists for your leveling, basically for early game leveling. These lists will work, and you just copy paste it in the shop, and it will highlight useful stuff, and you just check is it good or not for you. If you see highlighted quarter stuff, you don't play quarter stuff right now, you just don't look at it, but you can, because there's another type of stat on your gear, it's called quality, and this will also highlight quality items. Quality items can be salvaged on the bench that you will unlock later in the game, and you will get nice resources from it, like armor scrubs that you can apply to gear. It will raise quality of other gear types and therefore make it more stronger. Quality on weapons will increase damage, on armor it will increase base defensive layer, more on that later, evasion, defense or energy shield. And on rings it will increase ring power, but quality on rings can be achieved only in the late game with specific resource type. You can get my shopping lists from my Discord, link in the description as always. But now let's take a look at this bro. So he's selling basic gear, and right now that's all types of gear is available to us, and most importantly shop will refresh every time we level up. So we hit next level, we can get back to shop, check equipment, if there is anything good. We just sell everything from our inventory and go back to farming and destroying monsters. Magic trader will always sell a bunch of flasks, and that's what you need to also check every now and then. Flasks upgrade mostly like every 10 levels, so if you hit level 10, definitely go and check trader to get better flask. This flask will recover 50 life over time, and it's 1/3 of our life. But later in the game you can find like flasks like that, for example, that will give you 1000 life recovered over a few seconds, and this will be almost your full life. So definitely check these traders, and they sell flasks all the time. From the magic trader you can buy scrolls of wisdom, they cost 25 gold, so pretty cheap. Make sure to have some of them with you when you're exploring. And magic traders will sell magic gear. Yeah, magic gear will be sold by these guys. Magic stuff, magic wand, focus, it's kinda like shield, but it gives you a little bit of protection and nice bonuses for like mages, as well as scepters. And also that's a random trader, so random trader trades random items. It's basically a gambler. He got his own like available stock. After killing some unique monsters, you will have this limit increased in this area particularly. And he sells some items, they will be most of the time tied to your level, so if we try to gamble right now, we will get mostly like hardwood spears. So don't try to gamble at level 1 if you want higher level gear, but basically if you can't find anything and you don't have any other choices, then you can waste some time and try to gamble a little bit to find some good equipment. He will also always give you blue or yellow items, but also he can roll you some unique stuff also. That's all shopping tips you need to know. Now let's go to character tab. So all characters will have different starting attributes, but as I told you, they're not really important in Path of Exile 2, mostly not very important. So unlike other RPGs, if you build high dexterity on your character, you probably won't get a lot of damage. Actually, you won't get any damage, because dexterity will give you extra accuracy, and actually not a lot of accuracy. Most importantly, every 5 points of each stat will determine how much support gems you can use. And that's what really important. For example, if I'm using Martial Tempo, it's Dexterity Supportive Gem, because it's green. Blue is Intelligence, red will be Strength. So if you want to customize your skills with some fire support gems, you need more strength, just level up strength a little bit, and normally you just will level up your main attribute for your weapons, and for hunters it will be mostly like dexterity. but also spears require some strength, so strength plus dexterity will be your choices. You can get the stats from equipment, so for example this belt will give me 42 strength, which is more than enough for early game, but also you can acquire attributes by choosing these traveling nodes on passive skill tree. You can choose any attribute you like, and then in the game when you advance you will find a guy and you will be able to respec it, so you will pay a little bit of gold and you can change your choices. So don't stress about attributes too much, just make sure your attributes is enough to give you access to your preferred gear, your support gems, but also your skills, because different skills will have different requirements of attributes and also different level of skills. So if I want high level 14 skills in spear category, I need to have high dexterity. Same goes for bow, it requires only dexterity. If you're going for quarterstaff, it will require you dexterity / intelligence. Elemental will require you only intelligence, same as occult. Maces will require strength, and so on. You will find it pretty easily. So top part is pretty much your basic stats, your life. If your life falls to 0, you die, so self-explanatory. Your energy shield, it's protective layer. It will protect your life by taking damage instead, and it will be automatically recharged if you lose it and you're not taking damage for a little bit of time. And chaos damage will destroy energy shield a lot faster. And of course we have mana, and mana is basically how much mana you have, you will use it to cast your skills. Also there's another attribute, it's called Spirit, and you will unlock Spirit later in the game when you find uncut Spirit gem, and also you will have 0 Spirit initially, and to have Spirit you need to defeat some bosses in the campaign. Spirit will be used to cut some buffs, and there's another category of uncut gems, basically Spirit gems. So you can engrave them, and there will be different choices of buffs you can take. And spirit gems, while will be shown on spear category, for example, are actually not tied to weapon. So if you like to use, I don't know, Herald of Ash, then you definitely can use it if you got enough strength to use it. It's not tied to weapon. It requires only spirit and some attributes, and of course level appropriate to your spirit level gem, and also spirit can be used to use your summons. For example, we can use Scepter, they also gives you spirit, and we can use the spirit to summon more minions, and we will have 3 skeletal warrior minions right now with us. That's basically what attributes means, but what they mean to you, how to understand and how to treat them in your build making process. Basically life, energy shield and sometime mana will be your buffer. Buffer is basically how much damage you can take. You can call it like effective HP, and if you have 178 life, this means you will have 178 effective HP technically. So you can take 178 damage. And I'm calling it most times because there's some passive nodes on passive skill tree like this. All damage is taken from mana before life. This means you can make mana as your buffer too. And if you wish some energy shield, you can just buy some energy shield gear that you can use, and here we are, we have energy shield also. It recharges pretty slowly right now, but it will recharge faster in the late game if we get some energy shield recharge passive nodes over here. But now let's get back to character development and next part. Next part is our defenses, and while top part will kinda give you like total health, total available pool of damage you can take, this part will give you some extra protection. So we got evasion, we got block, and we get armor. Evasion and block is damage avoidance. This means whenever you trigger this stuff basically over here, evasion or block, it will block full damage. So whenever someone hits you and block triggers, you will take no damage, 0 damage. And block will be given to you most of the time by the shields. But there's also shields like this, which is a block and evasion shield at the same time for Huntress, pretty cool one. And it's worth noting, some skills of bosses can be blocked or evaded, and you need to evade them manually, of course. And while block and evasion look kinda the same, actually there's quite a bit of difference. Block can't be used while you stun or frozen, and evasion actually works every time, even if you stun or frozen, at least right now. So avoidance is cool, but also there is damage reduction. Basic damage reduction is armor. Also, your armor can't be higher than 90%, and reduction is a lot simpler, of course. Whenever you take 1000 damage, you will take only 100 damage if you have 90% of armor. It's really simplified explanation on how armor works in this game. Same goes for evasion, for block. There's actually like pretty big formulas how they work, and they will depend on monster power, on the damage you take from hit. And in reality, there's actually a number that you have. For example, for evasion, right now our number is 67 and estimated chance to evade is 29%. But it will work only for this area. When we go into higher level areas, we will actually have this chance lowered. So this means 67 evasion is not enough to carry you through the end game. Monsters will become more powerful and you will need high evasion. For example, on my high level character right now, I got 3000 evasion and chance is just like 60% or something like this. And there's another way to reduce damage taken. It's called resistances, of course. There's 4 types of damage in this game, actually 5. There's physical damage, of course, and there's fire, cold, lightning and chaos damage. Maximum resistances will be capped at 75. You can make them higher up to 90 by choosing right choices on passive skill tree, by choosing some gear. Basically, you can raise it higher, but it can't go higher than 90. And again, they work pretty like straightforward. You take fireballs that should inflict 1000 damage to you, and you will take only 250 damage if you have 75% resistance. And that's actually what you want to do. You want to cap your resistances at 75% or even a little bit higher, if monsters will have some ways to reduce your resistance. And also, when you're going through campaign, after reaching Act 2, you will have -10 to all resistances, to all elemental resistances. And elemental is fire, cold, lightning. Chaos is not elemental damage type, it's just different damage type. Therefore, after finishing campaign at Act 6, you will have -60% resistances. And this thing is really important, and a lot of players forget that in campaign you actually can get bunch of permanent bonuses. For example, Clear Fell Zone in Act 1, you will find this boss in the middle of the screen. If you, for example, forget to defeat her, you will lose this bonus, and this grants you 10% to cold resistance permanently. So definitely you want to use it as soon as possible, and also you need to do it on Act 1 on Cruel difficulty. You also can go on the map and check if you're missing anything just by looking on these spots. So basically we cleared Campfire and also we cleared Bearer of the Rotten Pack, and she gave us this 10 resist of cold damage. Definitely I recommend you to clear everything, but most important is to clear Sister of Garukan Temple in the Shar Spire. You just need to touch it and you will get 10 lightning resistance forever for whole game. And in Act 3, in Jikwani Machinarium, you can find boss and he will give us fire resistance. Most of these bosses should be cleared 2 times on both difficulties. Boss in Freightorn that will give us spirit, and spirit is a resource for our buffs, can be cleared only on normal difficulty. You don't need to clear him on hard. But a lot of guys messaged me in the comments how I got so much spirit on my monk. They always missing 40 spirit, and 40 spirit can be achieved by beating Act 3 Azak Bok. Yeah, she is giving extra spirit on cruel difficulty. Anyway, try to beat every boss you will face, because some of them will give you skill books for extra passive points. In the end you should have 24 extra points. And before we jump to passive skill tree, let's quickly recap everything we know about items. So, actually items will have some item requirements, like these gloves for example. Required level is 52. So does this mean gloves are bad? Actually no, they are insanely powerful and they can be dropped from the pinnacle boss only. The actual line you need to watch when you're determining is item good or bad is item level. Item level will determine how good affixes and suffixes, prefixes can roll on your item. Basically it shows power of the bonuses on item, as well as power of the bonuses that can be rolled on item, if you're rolling on blue or yellow item extra suffixes or prefixes. So don't rush to throw away in the garbage your items of level 70 when you're level 80. Maybe it's best item on the server. Understanding item level will help you go through campaign and understand what items are good, what items are bad. But if you're still having difficult times, that's how you can enhance your powers pretty easily. If you disenchant items with quality, you will get this blacksmith whetstones and other materials that can increase quality of your weapons. And maximum quality is 20%. You just use it on your weapon and it will increase quality pretty easily by increasing damage. It will only increase damage, your physical damage of the weapon, and no extra bonuses like extra lightning damage and cold damage. There is always quality on skills, and if your skills provided by your caster weapon, you can use quality on caster weapon to increase quality of skills. It's a lot easier to fight bosses with 20% extra damage and extra protection. But if you want to improve power even more, you need to use artificial orbs. They will be achieved by disenchanting items with sockets. And after using artificial orb on item, it will create socket, so you can use any runes, and there's a bunch of runes dropping to increase your power. For example, you can drop some extra lightning damage into your weapon, you can drop extra physical damage in your weapon, and you can go and get a lot more resistances or protection defenses in your armors. And finally, I guess we need to talk about this scary passive skill tree. It's actually not very scary. There's two obvious passes. One is attack damage, second one will be protection for your main class. For example, for Amazon it will be evasion as well as for Ranger. And there is no reason to take any protective notes early on, because if someone will hit you sometime, even if you evade few attacks, you won't survive anyway. This means best defense is offense, and just always start with some attacking and damaging notes. Damaging notes can be achieved by any class. For example, over here we got some attack speed, attack damage, area damage for Amazon, for our ranger, but if we go to the monk, he will have some skill speed, he will have some attack speed, some like critical damage and other stuff, and this will give him damaging notes basically. Skill speed is technically attack speed, so the faster you attack, the more damage you deal. I guess it's self-explanatory, but also let's talk about critical hits. Critical hits is insanely powerful when you have nice and powerful damage, but early on it's a bad investment, because even when you critical hit with 100 damage, you will just deal 200 damage, and most of the time it's better just to make a lot more attacks than just one big attack, since critical hit is basically double damage. But in later stages of the game, when you get critical damage bonus, you can multiply your attacks a lot more and with a lot more power. Now, when you finish your damaging part, just explore surroundings and try to find out if there's anything useful for you. But even before, try to check outside of this passive tree. Most powerful nodes is over here. For example, for hunters, it will be this spear node with a lot of spear damage, and that's what we should aim for. But if we go here right away, straight away, we need to take a lot of attribute points on our way here, and this means we will lose a lot of power by just picking attributes that we don't need early on, by going this long path. So what you need to do and want to do instead, actually, especially early on, just travel step by step, and every step just analyze what is surrounding this node. For example, we're doing one step, another step, and we're checking, oh, attack damage, we need attack damage, we're definitely taking this. Elemental damage, fine, we're doing elemental damage, we're going for elemental damage road. Or maybe we're going for physical damage, then we're going for physical damage road over here. Just like that, go step by step towards the most important node, depending on what gear you're using, on what skills you're using. Pick everything useful along the way, and you will make good and useful character. And you don't even need to inspect every single node, just look for these big ones, because these big ones is special nodes that will give you a lot more powerful bonuses, sometimes extra stats and special effects. That's what you need to look for. For example, if you need this elemental resistance penetration or something like this, then you just go forward and everything on the way will work for your class. It's like 99% correct for all cases. So just check these big circles on your path and you will find what is the best options for you. But also take a look at these big circles. It's super unique nodes that will give super unique effects. They are pretty cool. For example, this one gives incredible skill speed, but we need to wear no shield. So most of the times these nodes will have insanely good bonus, but also some nice penalty. So be aware. For example, being immune to chaos damage sounds like a broken ability, but your maximum life will become 1. So if you don't have other protective layers like your mana, like your energy shield, we already discussed it in character tab of this video, then you won't benefit from this rune over here, from this node of course. You will find these nodes, so they will be very big, and what I recommend you to do is to check all nodes near your like basic tree and try to find out, do you want to use them or not, if you're not following build guides. So that's enough to understand how to develop your character, and you will be completely fine. But you may notice you're not getting any experience, so that's how you actually level up in this game. Not like in most of role-playing games, there's actually quite a pretty like weird formula of experience in Path of Exile 2, as well as in Path of Exile 1, and what it's doing, basically, it preventing you to over-level, and also it preventing you from fast leveling. Your character will most likely stop leveling efficiently when your level is higher or lower by 4 of area level. And you can check area level pretty easily. It will be over here when you play in campaign. Basically clear fell is level 2 area. This means we can level up to like level 6 over here, and it will be efficiently. It doesn't mean it will be efficiently and it will be fast, but you can do it. For example, this monster will give us, let's say, 10 experience points. This means up to level 6 he will continue giving us 10 experience points, but then we will have diminishing returns. So at level 7 he will only give us 5 experience points. And also, experience needed for next level will be a lot higher, so definitely, if you want the best way to level up, you want to go to the areas that is higher levels than you by like 2 or 3 levels. This will be most fast and efficient way. So if you want to level up faster, just ignore area for now, go forward, try to play in areas that is a little bit higher levels than you, and then you can get back to areas with a lot more power and just clear them a lot faster. But what if you don't have enough power? How to progress to campaign? So here's the trick. Bosses will give you most of the time nice drops, and this Bira is a really nice example of this boss. So she will drop some nice and valuable items. As you can see, we have no items right now. That's because I'm using item filter to show only item that is good for my hunters. You can get my item and loot filters in my Discord, of course. And as you can see, she's dropping nice items, blue items. We can sell them, we can disenchant them. That's actually what we're doing right now. I will show you this nice way to get some currency. Basically, magic trader will always have disenchant menu, and you can give this trader blue and yellow items. She will disenchant them for transmutation shards, which become orb of transmutation later, or yellow items can become regal orbs if you got 10 regal shards. And here's the trick. Basically, if you don't have enough power, nice idea is to clear down bosses or maybe farm areas with a lot of monsters at this point. So you don't need to clear monsters, you just need to find areas with a lot of monsters of your level that you can clear efficiently and play this area again and again. But if you enter this area, like clear fell, it will have no boss right now. So by just holding button instead of joining instance instantly, just hold the button or control click on PC or shift click, I forgot actually, you can create new instance. So this is our previous instance, this is our new instance. We create in this instance, we write on the checkpoint, on the waypoint basically. So we can activate checkpoint over here, quickly find a boss. Areas generated randomly, but most of the time she will be roughly in the same location. And just go in to defeat this lady again, defeat the bosses, monsters, get some valuable loot, sell this loot for gold, and you can use checkpoints to travel through the map pretty easily and fast, touch the waypoint, and create new instance again. So that's basically the way how you can easily farm, but mostly of course for resource, or to get a little bit of leveling if you need to. And resources is basically most important part of the game, of course. You need to get them as much as possible to never fall behind in power level. You already know how to use these blacksmith stones, you already know how to get them. I explained Jeweler Orb that creates gem sockets. You will get better Jeweler Orbs later in the game. By destroying flasks with quality, you will get Glassblower Bauble to improve quality on your flasks. This is Gem Cutter Prism to improve quality on your skills basically. And there's tons of other currency. But if you listened carefully from the start, you already know how this currency will work, most of them. Orb of Transmutation will convert white item to blue item. This will add one more modifier to blue item. So basically, white item without modifiers will be blue item with one modifier, then with two modifiers. Then you apply Regal Orb to give it one more modifier and it will become yellow item. And then you can use 3 Exalted Orbs to get 6 maximum modifiers on yellow item. If you don't like one of the modifiers, you can use Chaos Orb and it will randomly choose one modifier and change it. Be careful, it can break your armor pretty easily. It can change some good modifiers that you didn't want to change actually. And also there's Divine Orbs. Divine Orbs can roll numbers inside of the roll. For example, right now we got high evasion rating. As you can see, 39 evasion rating, it's maximum roll. We will use Divine Orb and it rolled to the lowest number. That's basically how it works. It will reroll all numbers actually on all stats. And if you want to get your super good, super unique item to the best stats possible, like this Ingenuity belt, it got reworked in this current patch, but I'm on old patch right now, so I got 79% on Ingenuity belt by just rolling Divine Orbs on it. And while this currency is pretty valuable, actually you can slam something on your gear, but only when you understand that this will work. For beginners, I don't recommend to use a lot of Regal, Exalted Orbs and Chaos Orbs, and especially Divine Orbs on your gear if you don't understand how good your gear is, because to make something like this Ingenuity belt, you need maybe like 40 Divine Orbs to get correct roll, so it's pretty hard. And this is really rare and valuable resource that you won't get a lot. Also there's Wall Orbs, you can apply it to your gear, it will corrupt it, and corrupted gear can't be modified, so before corrupting your gear, make sure to go through a checklist. Basically, make sure you got all available bonuses, so you can't exalt it, there's no space for mods, and you have maximum quality, and you have your rune sockets. You don't need to insert runes, you can change them later, but you need to have sockets. And when you're walling, you can have basically nothing, so result will be nothing changed. You can reroll some parameters, you can reroll all parameters, they can change numbers, they can basically reroll to different attributes, or you can have more implicits or even more sockets. So let's just try and have some fun. And we rerolled some parameters and we have a lower evasion rating right now, so item become worse basically. Let's have some like fun, corrupt everything. For example, these boots just got implicit. As you can see, they got increased energy shield right now. So yeah, that's basically how it works. You can have a lot of different implicits. You can corrupt basically everything. You can corrupt your bottles. They can have more quality. This flask just got 23 quality from corrupting. And technically you just understand how it works right now. But this guide should be enough to understand everything Path of Exile drops at you and how to build your perfect character. And go straight to the end game. But that's the story for another day. And game guide coming soon. And now I recommend you to check my leveling build guides. Links in the description, in pinned comment, and over here on the screen right now. You will see playlist with my leveling build guides for every class. See you in the next videos.